to kind of get on that level. So I think it's a risky pick for sure. It always will be, at least initially, while this map is still trying to get figured out. But I think I've definitely seen a lot of teams that adapt and sorry, not adapt, adopt these new maps,
Yeah.
and because of that adopting, they become suddenly a much more powerful team within the region. And so I think that overall, very excited to see what Imperial have in store for us here on Train. And Laz, I believe this is the first time we're both casting this map, and
Yeah.
I'm very excited
Yeah.
to go through with this with you.
100%. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, this is the first time I've been here, so this is going to be really, really fun, and we'll see what Imperial got in store for us, and already so far looking pretty good, but right back out of the Sharks, looking like, even with just losing RDN quickly, or Doc, my apologies, looks like they're able to reply back nicely. No way with a beautiful, just a little bit of a jumping shot there. This thing is going back and forth. Bomb is going to go down, but now this is a tough position right now for the Sharks, because again, they have the one kit available, and now if RDN can hit these kind of shots, it might be able to be in a good effect, but it's not. This thing is going back and forth. It's a bit of a teeter-totter, and now these dualies are just trying everything in their power, but it's just a bit weak. All of a sudden now down to the 1v1 situation. Kit's going to be picked up from Nyx. He's got the smoke. He might even be able to tease this ninja defuse potentially. He's going to stick it, but Descendi's going to be able to find it, and there we go. Imperial, they don't make it look easy, Paladin, but at least they can get something done.
Yeah, I really do like the strategy there. You smoke off Icon, you smoke off Z, and you try to just get that bomb down, force the CTs to play ahead of that utility, play in the site, and it actually works pretty well for the Sharks. They get a couple of kills, and they make it a favorable or a doable retake, but Imperial just trade very effectively. No way with that aggressive dual Beretta pickup. Super important in the grand scheme of things, and overall netted them the round. We'll see what these game plans look like as this T-half continues to develop and showcase whether or not they've actually put in some real work into this map.
Oh yeah, look at this. I mean, a really good play just to get all the players kind of just, you know, body slamming into T-Con. I mean, you got to do something, right? I mean, that's what we always talk about these second rounds, is you kind of just go for the risk of, you know, just stacking something or doing something you can. But look, I think there was 2 players that went down from Imperial, not bad, but otherwise now it's going to be the full gun round. Nyx is going to have the op. This was one thing that, you know, we didn't really get to talk. Hey, what's up?
It's glass cannon. It's glass cannon, not Laz.
Oh, I thought you said Laz, and I was like, what do you mean? What's wrong, dude? I was like, am I not seeing right? But yes, you're right. Glass cannon off. Look, Nyx wasn't able to put any sort of work into it in the previous game, so I'm hoping to see a little bit more of it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I've seen a couple of good moves from him when he does call his own shots, but yeah, still need a lot more from him. Didn't see much of him at all in that first series, so let's see what the turnaround is. I think T-Con on this map is so important. Holding on to it as a CT is absolutely vital, and both Tri and Che are holding on for dear life and making sure that they can retain this. The trade is there from Tri, and so the CTs won't be able to get this straight away. Look at this. Imperial already have themselves long dogs straight away, already putting pressure on these CTs, already making them feel uncomfortable, but it's still a 3v3. The Sharks still have a potential advantage here with that sniper in play.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is like, look at how like much pressure they're putting on outside. Like, they really have one player that's going to be Koala that's just kind of hanging out on the inner B bomb site, but really it kind of seemed like they were putting a lot more focus on the outside yard, just trying to make sure that they can try to protect A as much as possible. Nick's in a really strong position here, playing behind red. No, he's going to be able to find that connection. A little bit sketchy, but at least he can get it done. But we're back to the 2-2. AK's across. Now it's just going to be rifles versus rifles. Still 36 seconds. Bomb's going to be in the possession right now for Imperial, but dear God, they're not going to just stick this, are they? Indeed, they are. And now Koala, he might be able to find this fight. He snuck away on this. Oh no, the timing! And he just turns his back. And Imperial will be able to snag this round and even pick up an off.
Now, understanding how to play in these 3v3s, 2v2s will dictate how kind of these newer teams develop on this map. As you can see there, I mean, there's barely any utility. They're in this weird situation where they've got themselves Long Dog and T-Con, but don't have any way to get out. They figure out a way to kind of tease the op and make sure he feels uncomfortable. And as soon as they do, they jump on him on back red. And that's when the whole map opens up. They find Z control pretty easily, and things look very good. Finally, the Sharks will try to go for some long dog aggression, try to crunch in from the B bomb site, but look at how aware Imperial are of this. You've got a flying Mac 10 from Vinny, a Molotov in the face with Dissenti watching the other end. That is beautiful play there from the T side.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, this is where we're kind of really getting a good showcase right now of what Imperial is able to bring to this map. That's where we're saying, you know, they're really trying hard to make this as part of their picks in their map pool, and we're starting to see it, right? I mean, I'm still pretty surprised, like the previous game versus the Fluxo, right? I mean, I am going to go back and watch it later, because even them losing 19 to 15, it's just so interesting. But I don't know if Fluxo came in with a good anti-strat. But look, now this is a moment where Gafola is really going to have to talk to the boys here on the Shark side and figuring out what they can do. And let's not forget Paladin. I mean, look, Sharks were the ones that we captured earlier, and they were having these really terrible starts, right? Like, nothing was looking good at all for these guys. So the fact that we're kind of going down the same rabbit hole, that's going to affect the mental here. Like, this team is hopefully getting themselves out of this hole quickly. Otherwise, it could be a slippery one.
Yeah, having to come to terms with that is an unfortunate one, but it's one that they've got to deal with now before this gets very ugly, as it did in both maps of the Legacy game altogether. So we'll see what they've got in mind here. Nyx again playing Glass Cannon. I don't recommend it on this map specifically. I do think that you can play on these long lines, but with the way he was playing it on back red, where it's a little bit more closer in terms of the range of these gunfights, it's a little riskier to go Glass Cannon, but we'll see what he decides to opt in for. The potency of ops are still very powerful. Let's watch Che actually try to entry out of T-Con. I like the idea there, but the execution was a little awry there, with the flash not necessarily hitting from Vinny.
Oh, interesting too, and even actually no way. I mean, he's been spotted a little bit, and the CTs actually have repositioned themselves to fight into alley. And I mean, it's a kind of a tough angle. It's not quite as forgiving as it used to be on the other, you know, versions of Train. Just a little bit more nooks and, you know, a little bit more of a difficulty on it. But look at Descenti. Oh man, he's even able to get away with one. Is kind of surprising with just a dry swing like that. But look at Imperial. Now they're just going to give everything up. Now they're going to try to take this inner bomb site. This is going to put Koala in a big position here. He hasn't had any sort of luck. Nobody's tested him yet. Good utility to stop them though here for the time being.
Yeah, no B conditioning means that Koala can hold on to all of his utility very late. Of course, it's still very early in the game, but you saw that he had a smoke, Molotov, and nade. Now that he can deploy that smoking, calling for a second rotation, Gafolo has made it here, but now here comes the B execute.
Oh, and Koala already doing a great job, but it's a little bit of a labored spray now. He has to do everything he can, and he even brings the USP out. Can't seem to find any of the connection. Now Try's able to get this op into some kind of motion, but it's a 1-on-2 now by himself. And there we go. RDN finally will be able to put a full face of lead against Try, and that's going to be the first round for Sharks. So a little bit of a bounce back, and it looks like the timeout, it panned out nicely for them.
Yeah, I think the work there from Koala is splendid. Even though he only gets one kill, he stalls out for pretty long. You get that second rotation to come in the back lanes. You've got the third rotation of Nyx to also get there, and eventually they have a good enough cleanup job to get rid of those T's. Try in a difficult clutch, can't get it over the line. Still another purchase here, and another default for Imperial. They tried to get a little frisky in that early round. Let's see what their game plan is here. Really trying to continue to nade open the smoke, but none of these players actually finding contact at the end of the day. So yeah, all it's going to be is just a lot of puffing up the chest and trying to get in, but this time it's an actual commitment. Gafolo gets all the way in. Che, they're all missing their sprays, and finally RDN connects deeper into the A site, and they'll get themselves a decent position. But look at this. Decenty has just climbed his way out of the B bomb site, takes out Koala, and now the rest of the Imperial members are trying to capitalize off of this positioning.
Yeah, this is an important position because, again, he pushed all the way up, tries this blind as a bat. He can't seem to find anything. I was going to say, surely he'll get the shot. But him just getting caught with the flashbang, he was just in no man's land. So now, it was looking pretty decent for Imperial. They looked like they had the inner bomb site for their liking, but the bomb's going to be dropped right in the middle of the train. And there's already a big flank coming through. No way right now might be able to find them. He might be able to backstab them. But look at that preparation from Doc. He is just ready and willing, but he takes a big brunt of damage. And now it's all down to the IGL of Vinny. He has to be able to do something magnificent here. We're 25 seconds, no utility. He has to have a firefight with 3 different players, 2 of them wounded. With a combination of 27 HP, he's going to be able to get this bomb down to the least. But now he's got to make a move. He has to be able to do something here. He has to shut down these CTs, and Doc able to get through the back lines. I don't know how he's alive. I can't believe he even went through that engagement with no bullets. Dear God, these are not pretty rounds, but it'll do something, I guess, here, Paladin.
Yeah, I think it really had to be no way there to find the flank, but with how little noise was given off and how Vinny kind of cuts noise from his position as well, it's pretty readable at that point that basically the only way that they can lose that round is if No Way kills a player in the back lanes, and it never happens. Doc does very well, a little labored, but does well enough to find that kill and keep Vinny occupied. Good attempt from Decenty. I mean, that extremity fight is always going to be very interesting. If the B anchor goes down that early, you're going to have to make this snap decision as a T side to just follow that all the way through and try to get the bomb down. But great responses here from Sharks in adversity. I mean, they're having all of these crazy big early fights, but they're still adapting really well in the late round. It's really putting the onus on Imperial to be a little bit more put together. They can't kind of waltz their way through these rounds just by winning something in the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, things look like they've actually slowed down quite a bit on this one too. And it was a good comment you made a bit earlier, right? Is like, you know, getting that T-con control is so important, and it really is. I mean, like as the CTs, you have to make sure you can contain it as much as possible, but you also have to make sure you can preserve the utility as much as you can just to slow down that aggression. But as a T, it gets frustrating because you're wasting so much time and waiting to see when you can get a little bit of an opportunity to make a play here. Another nade going to come through. That's going to be a deeper smoke into T-con here from Gafolo. So Imperial in a bit of an interesting position because you can see they're all kind of on the outskirts of this, ready for the outside pop. Decent T might be able to get himself into this lower side again. He might be able to fake things out. This is all about, you know, how much they can catch the CTs on the rotate. Look at how fast they're already kind of moving here, Paladin. Like, you can already see that Koala and also RDN, they've kind of already, like, shifted their movement quite a bit.
Yeah, DCT's done a good job in conditioning, but they still can't get out of T-connector. That deep smoke is making them worried that there's still another player in here. Finally, they realize it's empty, but now they've got to go full gray screen into Gafolo, into Nyx, and all these CTs just swarm the offensive hit. Sure gets a consolatory Deagle headshot, but it's all for naught. The Sharks had read Imperial like an absolute book. And, you know, I question how they're approaching Long Dog and how they're not pushing into it. They're not actually fighting for it all too often, but they're finding responses beyond that. The B anchor is holding very strong and getting enough information that they can lean 3 or 4 onto that A site. So well done to Koala. He's 2-6 in this game, but he's doing a fairly good enough job to make the A players' lives a little bit easier.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point you bring up because, again, regardless of his scoreline, the fact that him staying alive and just allowing those rotates to come through, that's the most important part, right? Like, you just got to make sure you're kind of being that nuisance and just making the timing for your teammates to get there. Otherwise, if they can get control of that site, like the T's, I mean, it can be all over. But either way, like since that timeout, this has been them clawing themselves back in this game, only 1 round away from tying things up. So this is, again, going to be a good test for the Sharks. I mean, they have the op still here for Nyx. Still kind of waiting to see a little bit more out of him if we can. But so far, I mean, Doc was one of those players in the previous game where he was able to get himself a little bit moving, but it felt like a little too late. And now Imperial getting ready for the old pop into the inner sight, and now the molly's going to get thrown. Really nice work. Utility damage galore. This should be mopped up nice and quickly, Paladin, but, you know, not a really convincing amount of a take on Imperial. I thought the nades would have been a little bit better, all things considered. It felt kind of lackluster.
Yeah, and I think that just, they would have liked maybe 1 extra flash, maybe 1 extra smoke for Z or something like that, but they were really hamstrung in that regard. 1 smoke, 1 molly, 1 flash. Not going to do much. And again, this time around, I mean, there's a certain art to being a B anchor on this map. You know, in some situations you got to stand and deliver, like that round previous. Some rounds you got to play a little bit further back and kind of just wait for the retake. Because as far as Counter-Strike goes, B-side train is one of the more doable ones as far as retakes go. So, interesting to think about. Cute little wallbang there from Vinny, but nothing connects just yet. And still a very passive spread from Imperial, not vying for that T-con presence anymore. Keen on trying to clear it out in the late round. And now Sharks getting a little bit more comfortable poking and prodding into the long dog area of the map. They're really trying to stretch their legs as a defense and make Imperial work for some map control.
Yeah, it's good though. That's the thing though. Again, like just getting this T-con control like that is just so important. Gafolo, the fact that he's able to push this deep and do another secondary smoke into this, that's what I mean. It's just buying the time for them. Not going to help that Doc's going to go down a little bit early on this, but nonetheless, I mean, this is still a decent position here for the CT side. Now you have to make a decision. Do you want to commit to Gafolo still holding on to this T-con where he could get overwhelmed by numbers? Or maybe change up the composition. Now you can start to see the Sharks repositioning themselves. They have a good inkling this could be an inner take. Imperial playing a bit of a standard approach on this, going for the execute. That's going to be Nick's able to find a good connection to start things off. So now it's a little bit of back and forth, but that bomb's actually going to rotate. It's going to go through Pop, but look at how fast Nix is able to read this. So now it's a 3-on-2. Still the advantage right now for the Sharks. Only 28 seconds remaining for this. Che, the newest addition's only able to find this one kill, hoping to find more, but Vinny, a bit of a tough position to be in. No time to work with, and honestly, unless he can find these kills quickly, this round's over and done with.
I mean, he's going to try to walk around into Old Bomb, but it's too late. I mean, you just got to save at this point. It is an unwinnable scenario, and I got to give a lot of credit to the Sharks there. They understand the potency of a position like T-Con. You have a player in Gafolo that's been constantly smoking out that position. You can lean 3 players to that B bomb site. They can send a full-on execute to that side of the map, and you can still see over those smokes and still have some potency to take out the ensuing T hit. And they never can actually go back to the A bomb site because they've still never cleared out T-Con. And so you come all throughout one part of the map in that Pop Dog side, and it's just a free line for the Opera to take or even a Rifler to take, that they will win that fight 100% of the time. You can't mid-round that way. So Imperial, yes, the opening game plan was really cool. They had some really beautiful connections between some of these players. But now the Sharks have adapted. They figured out what's worked for them in terms of getting information, and they're having the right reads when these hits are coming in.
Yeah, really, it does really feel like Sharks have done a lot more preparation on this, or they seem like they're kind of getting a better second wind on this, because, you know, I think you and I both agreed that it just felt like a lack of preparation or a really off game on the previous series, right, to start the day off. But this is already looking like a way better Sharks. Like, everybody's contributing. All the shots are being made when they need to. This is a different kind of team we wanted to see. Gafolo, I don't know how the hell he doesn't get clear. Nobody checks this? Oh, man, he's gifted these kills. I thought he was a dead man. And this thing is just getting gross. They're just doing the tango, and he gets himself a quad. Honestly, I can't believe it. I mean, in that kind of position, I feel like it's kind of that one-on-one trade, but somehow, some way, he makes it work with a 4.
You know, you and I have watched this game for a long time, and we've seen Olaf be the consistently most checked position when this map was out, but it looks like some of the youngins still have to learn about the potency of that position. It's an easy one to overlook, but yeah, you can still see the power that it has when it goes unchecked. And now that you've got that added little bit of cover as well, it's an even stronger position if you can get there safely. This time around, the B player, I think of Koala, just completely burns in that Brown Halls. Oh my goodness. Nix a shot though. Don't mind that. RDN, the double combo in Ivy. It's a position that Imperial haven't been testing, but looks absolutely brilliant from the Sharks. That kind of leaves Imperial in an awkward scenario. They've just got to commit to this B bomb site, considering they killed the B anchor. So they'll get a bomb plant. You'd like to think, but the nade still available for the Sharks will really make Imperial uncomfortable in this post plant.
Yeah, it definitely will. And this is the thing where, like, old versions of Train, is, you know, as a T, it was good to be aggressive on this and making sure that post plant's a little bit more successful. But look at them just posting back like this. It allows so much room for the CTs. And now look at RDN's got a good inkling on this. His spidey senses tingle, and there we go. It takes down Vinny. He was trying to be a little bit of a smoke criminal. But again, I feel like we're seeing Imperial being, it kind of feels like a bit predictable in some sense. But in the same token, I mean, I love when we see that variety coming in from Sharks, like the double player into Ivy, something they haven't done. I mean, now they seem like they're kind of on the right page, and maybe that step ahead of Imperial. Maybe they were able to watch the previous game that happened. They found like a couple quick gimmicks, things like that. There was that hour break in between their games, but none the wiser. I mean, Sharks are in a great position to potentially find this 8th round in their favor as they move over to the T side, which is going to be a really good boost of confidence.
Yeah, I'm completely with you there. These CC reads have just been splendid. And now, they've got to see if they can close out this half strong. Imperial, beyond those initial 4 rounds, have really struggled to keep up with what Sharks are throwing at them. And again, tried and true method, Gafolo in T-Con, allowing for a later lean. And so that first rotation of RDN will slide over. And Gafolo can really just stay here for the entire round. Nobody's going to fight him. He could stay here for the entire round, and they'll eventually be able to lean another player the other way. Of course, they don't have any info Ivy, so Nyx will still have to stick around. Incendiary available here for Koala. Peering in, waiting for the initial utility to come through. And now they'll have to go into this Incendiary. They'll have to sit in it for a little while. They'll still find the opening incision and go straight at RDN. And the trades are good.
Yeah, these trades are definitely a good position right now. Imperial finally in a better advantage. Now we start to see a little bit more frags getting picked up. There we go. Gafolo now, the last remaining player here for the big flank. He's got a lot of work cut out for him here. He's got that Molotov. He's still got a kit in his hand, but surely this is not the best position to be in. You can already see Chase kind of just waiting on the back skirts of Z. And there we go. Imperial won't be able to find the half, but at least they can find that last round. So 7-5 is going to be the score. We'll take that short break. We'll get ready for the second. All aboard! We're ready for the second half as we get into train, and it looks like Sharks have been able to find a way to get themselves looking a little bit better on their CT side, but now the question is, Can they get the job done? Can they be able to find a map win so far on the close qualifier? Laz and Paladin to bring you through this action here in the lower bracket semifinals.
I feel like they understood a little bit of how to play the CT side, but here's where the true test comes for the Sharks. What do they have in store on this offense? Double smoke, one molly, and a flash here for the T side. Maybe a little bit of an A execution is on the cards. Just waiting to see if they can punish a little bit of aggression. Anything from Ivy, anything from Brown Halls, but it's coming. They just don't know about it just yet.
Oh, I was thinking try. I mean, I like the idea of this because we didn't see that a lot, right? We didn't see a lot of CTs like kind of pushing through pop like this and not really like getting that extra info. Now we start to get to see it a little bit. Now the execute from Sharks. Going to throw some good old Naderinos, and Nyx is actually going to be able to find that P2 connection. Okay. Not too shabby at all. Tries doing everything he can, being a bit of a nuisance here onto Pop. And he might be able to find this. Oh, no! He can't be able to get the kill. I was thinking maybe he can deny it. But looking like Sharks, I think they can be able to find themselves a pretty convincing T-side pistol, which, honestly, I was getting a little bit worried just based on them kind of just posted up ready for the execute.
Very similar execution to that of Imperial's pistol, but instead they actually toss a Molotov to the backside of the bomb site. The only real way that a CT could become annoying in that situation is by denying the plant, as you saw, or nestling themselves into that spot where Heaven was, basically, into the late round and surprising the T side. But that Molotov basically denies them that spot, and after the bomb goes down, you can see how easily things looked there. So, good work from the Sharks. I actually really like the game plan they had there. Now it's trying to push that pistol success into something more.
Oh, you just got to feel bad for the save, too. Like, just the armor and the dualies and, yeah, the swing at the end. Just, you hate to see it, but... Okay, well, I mean, Imperial now trying to bounce back as much as they can. Doing a 4-1 setup on this, I mean, again, very standard from what we've seen on the other iterations of Train. Still going to be the same effect here. I feel like Outside's even harder. Like, I mean, again, you've lost some of the trains that were on the previous versions. So there's so much more ground the Ts can work from. So it'll be interesting to see what Imperial's CT setup is going to look like. They actually backpedal the 2. This is interesting. So they might even try to do an inner crunch right now.
Yeah, they can, but they just don't have any pop presence is the real issue. You need that second prong to really make the Ts feel uncomfortable. But right now, no real pressure on that end. Noe, meanwhile, hits the scout tag onto a lurking Ivy player, and yeah, there it is. There's just really no pressure from the other end, so it's easy pickings for the Galil. This is something that needs practice, it needs reps, and right now Imperial not showing that sort of prowess. So with that, 3 players stay alive. Okay, I was thinking they already had a bomb site, but
Yeah.
there's still a little bit going here. And I mean, in those kinds of situations when you get 2 kills, you've got to play off of that. You can't overcomplicate things. That's when things can go wrong. 35 seconds left on the clock. They still might pick the right bomb site on the outer portion. But, man, is it just a weird late round situation where I do think that they're just wasting time.
They're just wasting so much time, exactly. And now, actually, they're going to go for the wrong one. I was thinking the same thing as you. They were going to go outside. Okay, finally, they're going to realize this is the better decision. RDN is kind of, just running around, just getting all the information. So they finally make the right choice at the last seconds remaining of this. So, I mean, man, you could have made that any worse for yourself. But look, it pans out nicely, but... man, that could have been messy. That could have been so terrible. And look, I mean, I think you and I have always alluded to this all the time about teams that kind of run the clock that low. Even that situation was more scary just because they had no information to work with. So it was a gamble what they did.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was like a minute there where I felt like they had plenty of time to send a feeler out through pop, and they just chose not to. I'm surprised that it took them that long. And Ardian's not a fearful player. He will go out and make a play for you and search for things. So, pretty odd scenario. The save is still happening. Still trying to make it work. Try drops his scout, unfortunately, but the AK is still kept alive. Let's see what Noe wants to do with it. Not necessarily too many avenues in this map if you don't have bodies to go super aggressive. I maybe think about just trying to play up close and personal on T-Con, but other than that, you kind of need utility to back that up as well, so it's kind of hard as a CT to like work with hero guns on this map.
Yeah, definitely not as forgiving as some of the other maps. That's a really good point to bring up. Where some of the other maps you can get away with the hero rifle, whereas I feel like a map like Train, just the way it's laid out so far, not going to be the easiest. But I do like this composition of how they're going to utilize this. So they're going to just try to crunch into the hallway. Not bad at all. But it's a matter if they can really get him activated to be able to find these kills, because he is the person that has to make the play, right? He's in the driver's seat right now for Imperial. So now you can see Gafolo. Bit of a challenging one, but okay, look, they're starting to clean it up. Now it's all just a matter of this. The AK is going to get dropped. Ooh, okay, that's a nice little collat. Why not? Okay, things get a little spicy over here.
Oh my god, I was about to talk about how that crunch completely failed, but what a shot from Decenti. And that's just going to completely change the complexion of the round. Nyx doesn't want anything to do with it. He's like, I got to get the bomb back. We got to reset here. Doc still has got himself plenty of space in T-Con, so this should be fixed up. Yeah, Try will fall, and it's all up to Vinny, but man, oh man, what a shot. I really thought that would completely change this one up. Vinny still finds one, and he spots out another. No armor on this, that's the real issue, and no kit with his position noted. It's going to be a little more difficult to figure out. I think he took a nade to the face. 37 HP. He'll save, but whew. That one gets the juices flowing, Laz.
That it definitely does. Look, I mean, I was thinking too, like I was on the exact same position as you. I was like, oh, this inner, little bit of a crunch was just completely fizzled. But look, I mean, the fact that even they bring it down to like 3 players going down is really good for them. So not bad, all things considered. But again, I'm loving what we're seeing from Sharks. Like this, it really does look like a very different team than what we saw before. That's where I was kind of saying I felt like they weren't prepared. And that's no disrespect to Legacy, because I think Legacy played really well, but it just felt like Sharks were really not fulfilling what we know they can do, especially like just given their ranks and like kind of, based on how they are. But now they're in double digits. Again, let's not forget this was the pick for Imperial, so they got it. They got to figure it out quick here. I mean, this thing could slip away again, maybe even a worse scoreline, because I mean, Imperial played this earlier on today, folks, and they lost that overtime versus Fluxo. So they're kind of going down that same path, maybe, unless they can do the impossible.
I don't mind picking into maps and trying to find a new home, but right now, beyond those 4 rounds, I have not seen that level of gelling from this team so far. I'm going to try an all-out aggressive maneuver here from the T side, straight into this A site. Smokes all over the shop, but it's Vinny that finds the first kill. Still looming threats around every corner as Nyx has made it out. Koala has as well, and he'll find one more. RDN through the smoke will find one more, and the trades come up the T side until Try is there to arrive at the scene, and he flicks back for a second. That's some impact from the sniper, and Imperial are right back into it.
Yeah, this is good to see. I mean, this is where it was a really critical round, right? I mean, that could have completely changed the game if it would have gone the other way here for Sharks. But luckily, they're able to get themselves bounced back. Keeping the AWP in their hands is going to be really important too. So now they can either decide to commit to it outside again, or they can kind of maybe just hover it around Z. There's a lot of options here that they can go with on this, but it's not as a forgiving map about rotating the AWP as much as others, but definitely still an effective strategy you can utilize. Sharks, though, I mean, given their kind of scrappier purchase on this one with double Mac 10s, this is where we're probably going to see Gafolo and RDM playing a little bit more aggressive as the leading charge, hoping to find that entry or at least getting some of the damage done. But you can already see splitting things off, just kind of having the 3 players on the outskirts of T-Con, having the one just lurking, inner halls, just making sure nobody's going to push this. So really a bit of a standard setup, hoping for somebody on the CT side to kind of overextend their welcome.
Right now, the Sharks have just halted completely. No T-Con presence here from Imperial. Decenti hovering around the Olaf box, but doesn't see anything. You kind of see this crunch setup onto a T-Con player, kind of a honeypot setup in a way. That once they come out, you can have a player from Red Swing, you can have a player from Olaf Swing, but that Molotov might just ruin everything. Gafolo, the molly into bullet combo. It signifies the go signal into this A site, but That's when Vinny and that's when Try activate. Still, this T side is still finding ways back in. Koala now in a doable 1v2. He's gotten to the bomb site, but he's lost the bomb. So he can't put pressure on this CT side just yet. He's back turned to two defensive players. Finally, they show face. They know where he is. He knows where they are. And no way will come out the better. He also had Che behind him, mind you. So that round was going to be Imperial every day of the week. But the Sharks, they're trying really hard to get onto that A site. And they just haven't found the necessary kill to open it up.
And that's where you need a bit of a good system, right? Like when you get out of T-Con like that, you have to be able to have some of the players like looking towards E-Box. You also have to make sure that, you know, on the back of Red Train, you have to be spotting things out. There's so many angles that you have to clear. And that's one of the difficult things when you're playing on the T side and you're trying to go for that A site, is that you have just so many different angles you have to be able to find, you know, for a clearance. But I mean, none the wiser. I mean, again, Imperial doing a good job of slowly bringing this back. I mean, this was a 10-5 situation, now only down by 3. So I think, you know, for Imperial, like they're slowly being able to get, you know, a little bit more of a secondary pulse on this. But at the same time, like, you know, for the Sharks, it's been impressive to see some of the executes. It's been pretty basic. I don't feel like it's been like, you know, wild or anything innovative yet. But I mean, considering we weren't really sure what to expect from a team like this on Imperial's pick, it has been a sight to a little bit behold.
Definitely. And now the Sharks are just going to stall out, honestly, just to burn some utility. See what they can do. Have a little mini pause here. The existence, as they say.
Yeah. It's good, though. I mean, it's the right call. And, I mean, they can just use this time, like you said, to kind of figure things out a little bit and what they want to do a little bit differently. And, I mean, for a team that's only, you know, had 2 officials on this and kind of a 1-on-1 split, not bad at all. And I mean, I think they probably figuring out that their outside takes are not too bad, but there's some things that they got to clean up, right? I mean, that last round we saw before, it was a little bit more sloppy, but we've seen other takes where they looked really good, where they were able to, you know, clear the right angles when they needed to.
And now the hit comes out. Vinny and Decency will have a nice cleanup there. Knicks gets a parting one onto the captain, but they're good.
Yeah, not bad. Only 1 casualty. That's all right. That's okay. You'll take those. But now what do we see, right? I mean, this is where we saw Imperial on their T side, where, you know, they really like to do a lot of executes. Like they, you know, got themselves in the positions, did the full nade exec, and then they would go, right? I mean, do we see Sharks kind of getting themselves committed to an inner bomb site? We haven't really seen it too many times. I'd be curious if they want to go for a bit of a B exec. Maybe wait things out. A little bit more aggression here from 2 of the players. Koala is going to be able to get himself, you know, out of the murder hole on this one. He's got himself in a good position. But the Molotovs are going to slow things down a little bit. No way is going to be the one that's going to be anchoring here for Imperial. So he's got a big roll ahead of him here, Paladin. But it does kind of look like the bomb's still on the outskirts of T-Con. No commitment on this, no decision yet. Still kind of, you know, defaulting, if you will.
Yeah, still trying to feel out the map. They've still not really figured out Pop. They've not figured out Ivy. They haven't really figured out Brown Halls either. So a lot of this comeback has come off the back of just dealing with this A pressure. And with that, the Sharks kind of have to go blind in some of these scenarios and hope for the best. Here comes an Ivy smoke to be dropped in, and I believe that's an Icon smoke too, to kind of feign a little bit of A pressure, but they're considering maybe RDN can find an entry, but that's a beautiful little sequence there from Try. They're going to try their hand in breaking into this A bomb site, but with 1 prong gone, how much potency can it have?
Okay, but not bad with the M4. Almost able to find that triple kill, but now it's all down to Koala. So yeah, wounded here with 12 HP. Should be a dead man. Jay's going to be able to find this, I would think. Ooh, actually, instead is going to just play a little more conservative. Just hang on back. Koala's just going to give up his body, knife to a gunfight. All right, Imperial, slowly and surely, it was looking a little grim. Now they're only 1 round away from tying this thing up. And like you said, Paladin, I mean, this is, you know, the CT side is one thing, but the T side is an even bigger test. And we're starting to kind of see that potential Achilles heel for Sharks, because they haven't really been able to find that much since the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, not at all. And now you're starting to see the potency of Imperial picking into this map. Understanding the CT side pretty well. Understanding how to deal with T-Con pressure very well. And this time around, Tri is also still very much more activated, I think, in this game than Nyx was. I think Nyx was moving out around a little bit more, but I think that Tri's impact is definitely felt a little bit more on the other end. It's interesting. We'll see how that continues to develop. There's still a little bit more time here. But DCT has actually kind of pushed a little bit more forward. He gets flashed into the angle and eventually gets the kill on RDN, but here comes the rest of the hit onto that B bomb site.
Yeah, looking like pretty convincing here. Che, the newest addition on this team, getting himself a nice triple kill. And okay, tie game is going to be back on the board, but yeah, I mean, I kind of do hope that we see Sharks going to be calling the timeout here really soon. Just again, really kind of reconfiguring their game plan. Need to do something a little bit different. I feel like it's starting to get a bit flatline now. This is where nothing's really changed, and I think they're kind of hoping it's like the definition of insanity. They just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and it's definitely not working. So now, luckily for Imperial fans, we're right back at it. Timeout is going to be used, so this is a really good call from Sharks. But now the question is, with no op, I mean, they got the rifles. What do we do differently?
I mean, I think you got to do something a little bit more pacier on that B side. Now you're getting decenty, getting aggressive in brown halls. You're getting pressure from Pop Dog as well. Things are not looking good in terms of commanding respect from the CT. Something that Imperial also struggled with when they were on the offense. So trying to push these CTs back is of the utmost priority. So they've got to find a way to deal with some extra aggression on the brown hall side before potentially going back to A. I don't think they can end A here unless, you know, you get some stunning headshots. But I think they should up the tempo a little bit on these defaults and really make Imperial work for information, because right now they're getting so much with very little use of utility.
Here we go. The outside take. They're going to see what they can find. They're going to be able to get the site, but again, it's all about holding on to it. But Vinny, a little bit of a sneaky beaky play. He's able to get himself on just the default train. He's able to get this kill. Now able to use that smoke into Z. Dash away from this. So now making things a little bit harder right now for the Sharks. And a big swing coming in. Not going to work for Nyx, though. So now the advantage once again here for Imperial. No way. Be able to find this wallbang. Oh god, he's so close. I was thinking he might be able to find this. Vinny's a dead man, but look at how wounded these two players are. Even Doc now down to 19 HP. He's going to be able to get this gifted one, but he's still got 2 full HP players. He has to go against. The smoke's just going to land right in front of him. This is not good. The nade should be able to get it done. Instead, it'll be the bullets. And now Imperial, they're going to get themselves in a lead position for the first time.
That's just a poor call from Sharks, man. I don't necessarily like it. They've tried this outer hit twice now, and it's just not worked. Yes, you're getting space. Yes, you're pushing back these CTs, but there's a clear response to dealing with that pressure. You're still seeing impact from Tri, Deep Ivy. You're still seeing pressure being put on from the Z players and Vinny, and they're starting that post plant at a 5v3 situation. It's the Sharks playing from behind. You still got to figure out the other half of the map. It's a necessity. It's not a oh, maybe we might do it, oh, we could do it. It's you have to do it at this point if you want to make that inner or that outer hit kind of work as well as it could.
Nice little bit of an opening duel actually for Nyx, so that's a nice little bit of change up here for Sharks. It's very, very different indeed, but now Decenti's able to get himself pushed up in a good position here, just able to get this information if players decide to cross into the inner bomb site. Imperial actually really banking on a read here for an inner crunch, so you already have 2 players that are locked in the B site. You already have Decenti already pushed up, so a little bit of a misread from them potentially, but honestly, it's a good gamble to see. Decenti might go over this fight, and oh man, they both kind of just a little bit of poking and prodding here, and now Sharks are going to be able to get this execute. They can decide to go outside if they want now, but they got to make a decision here. They're still taking quite a bit of time. They got the bomb outside. They're in the back of red. They got to get things moving. Senti's going to go to the grave, and now they put themselves in a decent advantage. Unless Noe can just stop things out, and look at all the damage he's able to do with a triple. Might be able to find some more. Single-handedly just stopping this round. Just putting up a barricade, not allowing these Sharks to keep on swimming. And all of a sudden, when it was looking decent, Koala now in a big ask for a 2-on-1. And now Vinny, the IGL, needing to do something big, but Koala somehow, some way, brings it right back to a tie.
I'm sorry, they don't deserve to win that round. I can't believe it. They actually call another A play after all of that Brownhall's pressure. I think that if anything in that round goes even just a smidge differently, that is Imperial's round to win. But Koala takes the individual step forward and says, I will break this spell of rounds. That 1v2 is absolutely massive in the grand scheme of things, and they're going to try to get another player outside of A again, but it's only RDN this time. They're trying to feign another A hit, but this time they're going to go back to B. This time they're going to go straight at Che, and Che finds nothing with the AUG. Bomb plant secure. The Sharks have just completely outsmarted Imperial. I mean, this is at this point, I've got to give credit where credit is due. That's sick.
Yeah, it really is sick. And I mean, again, this is a big round. Gafolo, my god, I don't know how he's able to find these double kills. And Sharks now on the map point. Did try actually get that kill? No, he didn't.
Wow.
Oh, he actually did. I was kind of wondering. I'm like, am my eyes deceiving me? Like, no way he found that. I was thinking that wasn't going to be a kill, but it is. But, man, oh man. Nice little bit of a take. I was kind of wondering when we were going to see Sharks go for the B crunch, right? Where the B hit, and they finally get it done nicely. And they're on map point, so I think Imperial still have a tactical if they want to use it. I'm pretty sure they haven't burned all of them yet. But the fact that we're even in this position, again, is kind of crazy to think about, Paladin. This is Imperial's pick. Maybe going 0-2.
Yeah, you can't take those timeouts home, so you might as well use them. So, there it is. I don't even mind them taking a third. I mean, you're going to get only one in overtime anyways if you get there, so might as well use it if you want. But really good work there from the Sharks. I've questioned Gafolo's calls, but those outer hits made that inner hit look absolutely simple. It was a cakewalk to get there. You've got Che playing all the way back from Z, and sure RDN dies, but he sold the bait beautifully. It did everything. So now that you have that opportunity, what do you do in round 24 if you're Gafolo? And how do Imperial respond if they see that same play again? Do you keep multiple players in, or do you leave Che on an island again? Or do you lean now to B?
Yeah, and that's the scary thing too, because when you have to put double players on the B site, I mean, it makes it
it's
such
already
a big
problem,
opening.
right?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of head scratching for this round to see. Double player Ivy, though, they're actually going to try having that paw flash. Triple, yeah, actually, Vinny looks like he's going to go for the paw flash. Go for a nice swing, not a bad play at all. But now, do they commit to this? Why does he have his nade out? Get your gun out. This is not good. You don't need to be throwing utility. You just got to shoot heads.
Oh my god! I was gonna say how nobody died there is a miracle, but finally Noe does hit the ground, and that gun is unrecoverable. Both A1Ss go out through Ivy, and only one is sustained. So keep an eye out for that, because the rest of these players have got to hit some long-range headshots with pistols, no less. A lot relying upon the shoulders of Decenti here, and he's all the way on that B bomb site. Vinny hits the deck. And now, the unraveling of Imperial surely is on the cards unless Tri can put up a masterclass of a performance with that Deagle, and he won't find anything beyond that one Deag. Bomb will go down, and this is basically an impossible situation, Laz.
It is, yeah. Unless Decenti's able to find, a multitude of kills here, he has to be able to find it. I think he spots Gafolo just on the edge of his leg, but again, I mean, they have one kid available, but they got a 5-7. They have to find these kills quickly. Time is ticking. It's already getting close to the halfway mark. Decenti tries to pre-fire. He doesn't even win that. Oh, dear God. He just sprays into the wall. And there it is. Sharks are going to be able to take the map pick away here from Imperial on train. And I think Imperial are going to have to do some homework here, Paladin, because honestly, I was thinking this was going to be a sure thing for Imperial. I thought there was going to be a lot more improvements from what they did with Fluxo. but it looks like the Sharks came some technicalities, things like that. It wasn't blowout. But look, like Imperial being in a situation where they haven't been able to find a map win at all. Like these guys have, they're essentially in a position where they might go 0-4, if they can't get this thing done. And I mean, that's a huge exit for them if that's the way this is going to go. But that's where we said the competition here for the closed qualifier is so cutthroat, because the winner's going to be able to move on out of this, but the loser's going to pack their bags and they're done and they're not going to Dallas.
A team that battered both MIBR and Payne to qualify for Lisbon might go out in last place. It really talks to you about the strength of the South American scene right now and how much depth there is. But there's still one more map for Sharks to do before this elimination is complete. They've got to go into this double setup. Noe and Che just tearing through heads. And, oh my goodness, Noe's found a way to live for just a little bit longer. And he's got his trusty opera right behind him. The Argentinian sniper finds one more. Leaves it all onto RDN, and RDN hits a couple of beautiful little gooshes, converts a kill as well. This round is still potentially on, but Decenty is there with the dual burst to close, and Imperial start off on the right foot here on Nuke.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's funny, like, Noe playing that position, like, that's the thing. It's a really powerful angle when you're able to play the ramp box like that, but you have to make sure that you can drop. Like, when you hit that little, like, railing and you get stuck, like, you should be dead. Like, 9 times out of 10, you should never be able to live, but the fact that he was able to escape with his life for a little bit longer, I mean, that's just lucky charms right there, man. I mean, that's really a situation that you never get really in your benefit, but nonetheless, I mean, Imperial do get themselves in a good hold. They're able to get at least the first opener, but look, I mean, they're going to need a lot more than that, because Sharks have already, so far, what they've shown us here, Paladin, like, they start off really slow. Like, we see them in, like, 0-4s, 0-5s, and then they finally start getting things moving.
Yeah, I do think they like start reading the game a little bit better. I think they understand, okay, this is the position where this team is targeting repeatedly. Let's try a way to kind of go around that or fight it head on. And it takes a good IGL to figure out that solution. And yes, it takes a little bit of time for Gafola to do it, but at least he's doing it. I mean, there's some teams that just kind of roll over, right? So we'll see whether those kind of big leads or big losses come back to haunt them. Obviously, against Legacy, it did, and they just rolled over. But I think they turned a new leaf against Imperial so far, where they have found ways to develop.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good test, because Try's in the red box. I was wondering if he was going to be able to find that timing, and indeed he does. Finds that double kill. A huge impact. He takes down RDN and Doc, and I mean, those are some of the stronger, statistical players here from Sharks, so that's a really good amount of impact that he's able to find. Leading the kill feed right now with a 5-1 record, and you're just waiting for the XM to get utilized here. That's going to be from Noe, so he's already got Hut a little bit on lockdown. Sharks now positioning in the cells towards this B site. They should be able to have it unless Shay's going to be able to find that. I think he's the only closest player here with the FAMAS. He might be able to stop them, but that utility, it's dwindled. They only have one piece remaining here out of the whole Imperial squad.
So Koala getting that kill upper suggested that maybe they can rotate back up to A, but now that he falls, information runs dry. They've got to go into Vinny's A1S, and now they're just stuck between two mines. They're kind of screwed here. I think they've just got to save or go all the way back to lobby. Either way, there's not going to be a pretty end to this round for the Sharks, because they've kind of overcomplicated it. And this is something that we kind of saw in the beginnings of Train as well, where they've got an idea and they kind of run it, they kind of overcook it a little bit. And that's exactly what happens here too.
Yeah, and that's kind of, back to that point about, like, Sharks. It feels like they never can get a good start. They're always playing this huge catch-up game, and we're going down the same road, right? I mean, this is where Imperial now got themselves 3 rounds. Should be able to find another one pretty easily here, unless something, drastic really happens. But, I mean, that's the thing for Sharks. It's, when you have a team that's such a slow starter like that, and the motor needs to take so much time to get moving, that's never fun to deal with, because, again, like, you're just putting yourself in a massive disadvantage. But, look, Try's going to be able to play this red box again. See what he can do. Trying to be a little bit of a body blocker. That's not too bad. He spots this one player out. Going to be finding that first initial duel. So, not bad of an effect. Sharks just going for the old faithful of outside crunching. hopefully get this bomb down if they can. Just do whatever they can with the limited amount of purchasing they got, but this is not a bad idea. I mean, Descendi might be able to find this one player, he does, but the other two have made it across already, so a tough situation. All 5 players remaining for Imperial, and there we go. A flawless run down. Not too shabby at all.
Yeah, another good start. Another 4-0 start here for Imperial, but now that the guns come back once more for Young Sharks, let's see what they've got in store for us. How have they adapted? Nyx is that different variation now with the sniper. They'll call their first tack timeout a little bit earlier, I'd say, than previous maps. But what does Koshi have to say to these guys at this point? Outside control has been tough. They've been getting it. They've been able to get down secret, yes. But how are they playing in these mid-round situations? How could they get that second rotation downstairs if they want to end A?
Yeah, and it's so important to get that outside control, right? If you're able to get, you know, a player across into secret, that, like, that's so powerful for the T side, right? Even if it's just one player, it just allows a little bit more options that they can, you know, either try to reverse crunch into inside, or they can try to, you know, utilize something for a bit of a ramp and lower crunch too. So they're going to go for the double timeout. We saw earlier on the previous series, they did all 3 in one shot. So I'd be surprised if they do it here. I don't know if it's necessary, but I mean, look, I mean, this is not a bad thing. I definitely think this can be a good conversations. I am actually curious about Nyx having the op-out. I don't know about you, Paladin. I've never really been a huge fan of it, like an op on the T side. I think it can be effective, but I just feel like that advantage is a little bit heavier for the CT side, which makes it a little bit problematic unless you're putting it outside.
Yeah, I think the T side AWP is a very interesting one, right? I mean, it requires a bit of setup to get them settled outside. Going for weird, like, hell fights and, like, heaven fights, I think are undesirable. And you really need to be a talented player to make it work. But there is still a lot of power for it in post-plant situations. I think that's just where it shines. But you've got to get there, and you've got to get there alive. So we'll see what it does. Because especially now that Doc gets that opener, outside opens up quite a bit.
Yeah, we need someone like that to kind of start things off, right? I mean, you know, Doc is kind of one of those guys on this Sharks team that really is like one of their, you know, stronger players as of more recently. So it's good to see him, you know, taking down the IGL, getting a nice little bit of an entry. Now they can just kind of, you know, again, this is the nice thing when you have the 5-on-4 and your advantage. They can kind of just take a little bit of a breath, hang out a little bit, make a couple more decisions. This is more pressure for Imperial now. Being on the CT side, when you're down the numbers, you have to kind of figure out what, like, kind of a setup you want to go for. Looks like they're going to actually do the buddy system with 2 and 2 right now. Towards heaven and hell. No smokes to be outside for the cross yet. They're just going to throw the basic ones. They're going to commit all 3 players. Yes, indeed, they will. Not bad at all. So this might just be an intertake with a little bit of a lurk.
They have no info that was right-clicked, so it's going to have to just be raw duels from Descendi. That's very good to find 2 kills there. That's huge. That puts a lot of pressure on this post plant, but still with a man advantage. No real route into this lower bomb site. I think Imperial will have to give away their second round, or their first round rather. Mind you, I don't know if they know Noe got down here. He completely slipped the gap. While Nyx was trying to give away that bomb, he goes down. And so now this 2v2 is definitely on.
Yeah, there's no smoke or anything, but at least they have some time to work with here. Like, the players are close onto the site. They got the flashes that they can use. Oh, and he actually looks like he might try to stick it. He does get off with no kit, though. So now, I mean, time is ticking. This is where they have to make the move quickly. They have to be able to find these kills. And yeah, now might just try to get himself out of here. He's actually going to commit to this. He's still trying to contest for it. Good little bit of work here from Koala, just hanging tight, not over-peaking on this, realizing that all he has to do is just play the Survivor game, and indeed he will. So, Sharks are going to be able to get their round done, but you know what, Imperial, honestly, kind of given the position they were in, going for that effort was not, I think, the bad call. I think they just had to make a play a little bit faster, considering nobody had a kit at all.
Kind of insane that nobody had a kit there after being up 4-0. But
yeah,
we'll breeze past that. We'll breeze past that.
Yeah, your words, not mine. Yeah.
And now you've still got another purchase available, considering A1S can be dropped. Try as leftover cash for an AWP. And now you start to see a little bit more pressure outside. You can start to see Vinny stretch his legs out into red. And right when they call an outside play, they go inner Sharks. That's a beautiful call there from Gafolo, completely reading the situation and finding a way to break past it.
Yeah, I love the tempo change that we see from Sharks. The fact that they just kind of, Gafolo's like, you know what, let's just go for the nice inner take on this. Not mess around. Let's not wait things out. Let's not play this slow play. Imperial likes that. We kind of saw that on Train, right? They were just doing all these like slow, execute, methodical plays. So I like that Sharks are kind of like, you know what? Let's get up close and personal. Let's find this. They're going to get the second round done because, yeah, Imperial have no ground to work with here. And only losing Gafolo, that's huge. Because, I mean, if they can keep these 4 players alive, that'll be great. I mean, Tries should be able to keep this up. I don't think, you know, Sharks are in a position for the hunt. But I love it. I mean, the double timeout looking like it's panning out nicely. That's going to be 2 rounds in a row for them since that, though, Paladin. So that's one thing that we've seen from Sharks. They may start slow, but man, oh man, can they claw back into a game quick.
Yeah, and again, it's that adaptation, realizing that, hey, we're getting a lot of outside space, and surely Imperial will realize that. That's when we go into inner quickly. And that's where you see also the pedigree of Sharks on this map, where that execute, it's snap quick. Everything is into place straight away. The Molotovs are in exactly the places where they need to be. The flight paths of the players know exactly what kind of angles to pre-aim. And it's just very sharp work there from Gafolo. Great call. And now, there's still money left over with that save, so all's not solidified just yet for the Sharks. And this time, they'll go back to outside now that Try is in inner.
It's actually a deeper smoke that's going to get thrown, so that's going to cover off Mini, so it's not going to be the old faithful smoke wall. This is actually instead just going to block off the one CT that's not going to be able to see through it. Try playing a lot more of an aggressive angle on this with the AWP playing in hut. So instead of like, you know, trying to get that yard control or, you know, really fighting for that outside, they're going to double crunch this hut. Really interesting, because even if Try misses this shot, No Way is in a position where he A, can swing, or B, hold this, and should be able to find this free kill, just like you see right here. There it is. Nice little bit of a combination, good teamwork. Now they can fall back. They're in a good position. Now this is all about the T's needing to find these kills. Not looking great. Not looking great at all, because these M4s are making connections. And there we go. They take this yard control, they bounce back nicely. RDN in a tough position with 44 seconds, but he's already gone to the grave.
Yeah, solid setup there from Imperial in the hut. I was going to say, they finally avoided Tries off, but it's basically the reason why they're able to win the round, or at least deal with that lobby pressure. And then they can focus back on the outside and kind of take stock of the wrap that's coming in. They spot a barrel, and they just can't deal with it because of the great tethering between those two CTs. So, nice bounce back there from Imperial, really getting better with playing alongside some teammates. And again, Try will opt in for aggressive hut. You talk about Che on this team. Huge benefit in terms of the kind of impact that he had in the Lisbon qualifiers, but has not had that same level of impact in this qualifier to qualify for Dallas. Need a little bit more out of him. They're going to try to crunch in through lobby alongside No Way, and eventually the trade comes, but they've got to dump a lot of resources for that to happen. And while all of it has occurred, look at how much space Sharks have taken. All of outside is theirs.
Yeah, this is one of the first times we actually see them, you know, kind of spreading their wings a little bit and getting into hell now, right? This is where we haven't really seen them do this position. So they have a choice. They can either try to, you know, go up to heaven here, up the ladder, see if they're going to be able to find these kills into the inner site, or they can go onto the back door onto ramp, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Descenti's the only one that's kind of close on by. I think he's playing on the outskirts of Secret. And Nyx is kind of being the lurk here with, you know, 27 seconds. They got to get things moving a little bit faster. But this is a possibility for Sharks. This lurk is one thing, but again, this lack of utility is going to be really scary going in that lower bomb site, because they have to worry about the CTs, but the rotates are starting to come through. I think they're realizing, look, they're not going to take this inner site. They hear the plants. Nyx does give away a little bit of an inkling on that, a little bit of a sound cue, But these CTs, look at how fast they've been able to rotate it. Now Nyx has to be able to find the perfect timing on this. This thing could be over quick.
Yeah, they know they've got a man advantage on the bomb site. They know Nyx was available, and he's going to try to get down the vents. And he does, but that's to his own death. Meanwhile, at the lower site, it's a triple setup at double. And there's just no way to deal with this. There's just way too many bodies, way too many targets, and Try's got to get the hell out of dodge. He misses that first shot. Does that even let him safe passage? No, it doesn't. Gafolo there to cut off his rotation, and Sharks bounce immediately back. It's a little wonky there with how they were getting down, but as soon as they got the C4 to dirt, they figured out a way to make that post plant work, and Imperial will have to go right back to a weaker purchase. No way with the Nova purchase.
Oh god, I know. And this is the thing where, like, do they really want to be a little bit cheeky with it? They got an MP9, okay. I was wondering what they were looking for. Even a CZ, man. When do you ever see a CZ anymore? Like, no, I mean, I liked a CZ, but I don't know, man. The 5.7 is just so much better. Bang for the buck.
Yeah, there's this guy. His name's Brian CS, and he's in my pugs a lot, and he loves the CZ. And I tell him, Brian, why don't you use the 5.7? And he's like, I liked Zeus. And he's, you know, so the moral of the story is you got to get with the times.
Exactly. It's true. It's absolutely true. It feels almost like a troll at this point when you use a CZ, but
it is.
I know. I used one for a long time too, and I was like, man, I love CZ, but just realizing how much it just got nerfed, it's not even
5.7 it's just a better CZ, man. It does the same thing, but better.
It does the exact same thing, yeah. Well, we'll see. I don't think any CZ action yet because it looks like Sharks once again. They're like, yeah, let's go outside. Let's just go for a nice old stroll. The MP9 does find that one connection, so at least it's put a little bit of a value. Hopefully, it was hopeful for more. Now they spot that's Vinny just on the outskirts of this. So, I mean, they got to be careful because when you get this close with pistols, really, really scary. Good nade to do a ton of damage. Vinny, I mean, he's gone. Yeah, he's getting roasty toasty here. A little too close to the flames. Okay, Sharks just having some fun with this one in round 9. And, I mean, unless they get really careless, it could fall apart. But, no, it's an easy one. Not bad at all.
Yeah, well handled there from the Sharks. And once more, another attempt here from Imperial. I feel as though he's been getting the op into the positions that he wants it. And now it's all just about connecting. Needs a little bit more impact outside, I'd say. Hasn't really flexed too much. Kind of left Vinny on an island, and for that, he's kind of suffered from a KD perspective. But we'll see if they can fix that at this point. Because they've got to figure out outside. Sharks have been getting downstairs way too easily. This time they're going to go straight through ramp, though. Right at Che. We haven't spoken his name all too much today, but he's showing up big time with a triple. Koala also taking significant damage in a drive-by USB headshot. Beautiful work there from the new blood. Now it's all onto Nyx. What kind of damage can he do? You'll find Vinny. He knows Che's around the scene. He'll take him out as well. A third kill on a silver platter, but no way will capitalize. Imperial bounce right back for a sixth.
Yeah, it's no harm, no foul. I mean, I mean, again, a situation where we can see, you know, 3 rifles being used here from Sharks. So I actually don't mind this. Actually 4. So math is hard apparently for me. But either way, I mean, Sharks in a position where, you know, this round could really bounce things back. We could be potentially looking at that potential 6-6 if they can find this. But again, they've been successful with the inner crunch, right, where they do a fast inner take, which this could look like a maybe, but the outside take has also been their best friend too. But instead, you know what? They want to try something a little bit differently. They want to go through ramp. They want to see if they can test Che. He's able to find this double, so the addition able to get himself some juicy double, and now putting them in a huge advantage with a 4-on-2, Koala and RDN, the last remaining players. Bomb in their hand, but again, this is not easy. I mean, you got so much ground you have to work with. They do have a smoke, but they have to worry about Descenti. He's close on by here. He's playing a strong angle on the lower site, but they got to clear him, and look at how spread apart they are. They're really hoping for somebody to overextend, but there's no reason for Imperial to do that.
I don't think they're committing to this. They have baited out 3 rotations to this lower site. They still have J-Hall control, and they're going to rotate back up to the upper site. It's only no way on this portion of the map. It's essentially a 2v1 because they're splitting from Mini as well. RDN could be able to give enough information to Koala to pre-fire this. 50 seconds left on the clock. Here comes a swing out. Okay, and No Way's confirmed the kill. That should dispel all worries in this round, and No Way will double up. There was a real world there where Sharks could have battled back in the late round. That's a worrying hole in the defense that shouldn't be allowed. There should not be 3 rotations to the lower site.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I mean, also, I think like Sharks kind of took that a little bit more awkwardly too, because you had the player in mini. I feel like he had to make a little bit more of a play, because if he would have made any sort of noise, or he could have been able to kind of go for that first engagement somehow, that would have allowed the player in heaven to maybe get that easy kill against No Way. But, you know, good work from No Way to be able to, you know, play the isolated duels in that kind of a situation. But I agree with you, Imperial a little bit hot on the rotates, but they make it work for them, and it's all good. And we're in the last round of the first half here. And Imperial, a team that hasn't looked so great on Nuke. I mean, it's been, I wouldn't say it's the prettiest CT side Nuke I've seen, but at least it's doing something, right? I mean, at least it's able to find a little bit of a winning factor maybe, but oh dear God, what is happening now? I mean, these Tech-9s have actually created some space, and all of a sudden, Paladin, we're down to try. He's by himself, and he has to go for a clutch scenario.
I don't know how we get into this position. They're feigning so much outside presence, and they get a free body into mini and out hut. The split is beautiful, and Gaffolo's shot's even better. Try is now giving away his position with the glass break. I don't really know why he did that. It gave confirmation that they can play this 2v1. Try still got an incendiary. He's still got a flash, but Doc has made it into heaven, and this round is over. The Sharks have gotten away with absolute murder on the pistols, and they'll get away with 5 rounds at the half. Can they complete this elimination series in a swift 2-0, or is there a little bit more that Imperial have to offer? Stay tuned.
Okay. Short break, ready to go. Imperial to get themselves in a lead position, a 7-5. I feel like we've been here before, but now Sharks are warmed up. They got it in them. Can they get a 2-0, or can Imperial push the boundary one more time to a third map series maybe? Well, we'll find out. Laz and Paladin here. Imperial on the T side, and Sharks here for the CT, and already now Imperial getting a little bit heavy on the gas pedal. They're just going to go right into lockers. They're going to be able to take down RDN. And honestly, a kind of a cool pace that we see from Imperial.
They should know exactly what's coming. Nyx up to the task to find the first against Try. And that really suggests to Imperial that the Sharks are aware of what's going on. They've got to stop the tempo, especially considering Vinny's got the bomb. And Nyx is going to try to reclaim this territory alongside his captain. They're going to go straight at Vinny. They do so much damage, but they can't find the kill. They found the bomb, though. That's at least come out to them. That little bit of information. And so now what does Vinny try to do? How does he kind of rally the troops with a minute left on the clock? They want to move back into A, and no way will find the headshot. That makes things a little bit better. There's a little bit of pressure relieved. And no way will try to go for a little bit more. Trying to go at Doc at this point. And now I think it's up to Doc to try and kind of fight his way out of this situation.
Oh, I was thinking, man, if Doc can find this kill, like that'd be pretty cheeky, but no, that's a tough one. But I mean, Gafolo, I mean, nothing really to work with on this. I mean, he's got the P2 that he's able to pick up, but I mean, Imperial in a great position right now. They're going to go for the backside of the plant, which is great. Shouldn't be anything a little bit too sketchy, but I mean, this is all about Gafolo just honestly finding the right timings of these kills. But I mean, Imperial have some really good post-plant positions. You have the person on the backside, the person on the vent here. This gives Gafolo a little bit of a time for maybe some of these one-on-one duels quickly, but no, not going to happen. Imperial, nicely done. They're going to be able to find themselves the pistol, which is a great start. So Sharks in that kind of an awkward position where now I'm just going to be curious where they go for the stack, right? I mean, I think that's what you have to do. We see a lot of teams go for the inner crunch, or the lobby crunch, I should say, but I mean, I'll be curious what Sharks have in store for us on this one. I mean, again, let's not forget, this is their map pick, Paladin.
Yeah, we'll see what he can get done now. We'll save for the Sharks, but Imperial still trying to find a footing in this series. I don't think that we've seen the real peaks of this team yet. Maybe we saw it for a round, but I refuse to believe that that's the level that we can get out of this Imperial. I mean, I'm still in disbelief when I look at that result that they had just a week ago, and what the quality of CS they have now, that they have to fight in this situation all the way back. It's kind of crazy to me.
It is actually kind of madness, right? I mean, like when you think of Imperial, like you definitely think of a top prospect team in the South America region, and it seems so odd that yes, there's been roster changes, you know, over the course of let's just say half a year, just for the sake of it, but over the course of time, but it really shouldn't be that much of a downgrade where like they're not performing where they should be. I mean, we're starting to see some other teams that are just really overstepping them now, right? And that's where I just feel like that's so unusual, because Imperial have normally been a big staple, in my opinion, for the scene. So for them to be in a position where they haven't even won a map, and for them just fighting to keep themselves in this, it's just absolute madness.
Well, either way, as a favorite, if you can get out the win, nobody's going to question it. The win's a win. And then they're definitely inching their way closer, just 4 rounds away. The Sharks now with the bye decide to go for an all-in approach outside. 2 players to get that much bit of information. Don't see anything at this point. Can either keep going with that, they can fall off. And go with the latter. Put pressure back on the Imperial to get a little bit more information. Top execute looking likely, or at least bits and bobs of that utility. And there are nearly 4 players here to greet them.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a mousetrap. This is not good, but it actually is a little bit of a ruse, right? So they make it seem like they're going to go for the inner crunch, but now Koala, oh man, he's able to get out. Okay, good flash to really just, again, buy a little bit more time. Now his teammates are hustling as much as possible. Laces are tied. Is it going to be enough, though? Imperial, they still have a little bit of time to back out if they choose to, and uh-oh, it's going into a bit of a blender. And now RDN getting the FAMAS to be locked and loaded. Oh, dear God, I don't know how he's not able to find this. It's an absolute challenging duel, but he gets it done. So Sharks put themselves in the position of round 15 in their favor, unless we see Try having a pop-off moment for himself. He's got a wounded player of Doc on the right. He doesn't have the bomb. There's 15 seconds remaining. This one's over here for Imperial, and honestly, Sharks, really good work on the rotates and not overreacting to that execute that we saw from Imperial.
Yeah, they already had 4 players there, right? And so in that situation, there's naturally going to be a rotation once Koala hears all that noise. And great work to him for him to stay alive and also break the glass open to make it a little bit easier for those CTs to fight later on. And again, one of those unsung moments from Koala where he's not getting you the big flashy kills. He's not getting you that insane ramp spray down, but he's getting you the valuable information for rotations to look as smooth as it does and for them to get as comfortable a round win as they did.
This is what's so interesting about Sharks, right? I mean, like we said, like for such a team that has like terrible starts to these games so far today, like it's crazy to think like we're at this scoreline now, right? I mean, wasn't it like 4-0, 5-0 on this map alone that they were down, and then they've been able to come back into this where it's arguably this can easily be a tie game within just a couple rounds of given the situation we're in.
Yeah, it is very weird, isn't it? We'll see what they're gonna do this time around if they can buck that trend. But Try has found himself a Galil frag, and I believe, yeah, another A1S has been picked up by Descenti. Ooh, finally, Koala does drop one of the rifles, so at the very least, there is no armor in play for any of these rifles. This should still be a Sharks round 90% of the time, but they've really got to cross their T's, dot their I's here, and keep these 4 players alive.
Yeah, the positioning too for some of these players from Imperial are a little bit interesting because Vinny's on the back, back skirts with the bomb on ramp. I think he's just hoping he might be able to get this timing. Which could be potential. I mean, Koala's got his back turned a little bit here. He's just on the back hole. Plant's going to come in. Oh, he's going to hustle. He's going to bustle. Oh, no, Vinny. Oh, man, he planted just on the outskirts of the smoke. It's just really unfortunate. So it's easy to spot through him, but you know what? Honestly, in that kind of a situation, what are you going to do? I mean, I actually don't mind that attempt. I think it was just unfortunate with the smoke, because if he would have thrown it a little bit better for him, I think that could have been a free plant.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it would have forced at least a bit of a spam around the smoke, and maybe you got lucky. All good, though. That did make the difference between, I guess, Noe having AK and util, and instead left out for the Galil. So we'll see if that dink potential comes back to haunt him. Either way, Imperial will have to fight back now. Spam going every which way. Decency taking heavy damage. And lives to tell the tale. Switches that Galil over. Smartly done. But again, no real pressure being applied from the Sharks. They're very keen on just having sharper rotations and just trading effectively in these kind of late round scenarios. Which I don't mind. It's been working so far.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. And now everything's kind of hit a bit of a halt right now, right? So now Imperial, again, kind of second-guessing a little bit what they want to do. They do have the double smokes available, and they still have, double mollies that they can go for another execute. There we go. Some smokes are going to be thrown on the outside. So they're going to go for the smoke wall again. This time it's a bit more of a deeper smoke, so this is going to cover off, again, mini and garage this time. So this actually does give an option where they could try to swing it through. Perfectly placed nade to pop open the smoke here from the Sharks. So this is really, really nice. That's the one thing that's been really good about CS2. Like, I know it's been around for a while now, Paladin, but honestly, I love that you can pop open the smokes. It's really changed the pace of, like, nuke like this, right? I mean, back in the CSGO days, like, a smoke wall was kind of a guessing game. Now you can get a little bit more intel. But now, I mean, this intel is getting a little bit more compromised here for Imperial because everybody's not able to find these connections, but hang on, indeed they will. I mean, I eat my own words. Che's able to find this double.
Oh.
Things are to 2 and 2. Koala, there he is. He pops right out of the vent, and he gets things brought back into Shark's favor.
That's very wonderfully done from Koala. The timing there to get up that ladder and save face beautiful rotations as well from the Sharks. I mean, the nading open the smoke has been a hot point of contention about the state of this map and whether it's a good idea. But when you time it like that, you just see the amount of power that it has over the CCs and how aware the T side has to be. You can't just throw the smokes down and just cross for free. You're gonna have to really take a calculated risk when you throw those smokes. Now it's a top pop on the cards here for the Sharks. Smokes are down. They're trying to cut down the distance. Nowhere gets really close, but no cigar. Vinny is down the vents, and he does get beyond the silo, and he will punch those digits down. So at the very least, there will be a bomb plant for the Imperial side. And now that they're at max loss, they'll have every bit of weaponry they could ask for. But at the tail end of it all, wow, it's 9-9.
Yeah, this is, man, again, it's just like, it's crazy to think that Imperial had such a strong lead, and they're right back into a deja vu situation where they seem to start off great, and then it just fizzles, right? I mean, this is now where a situation where it's a 9-9. I mean, we talk about the statistics of this where Sharks are a very heavy favorite on this map, like just knowing from what we know, but I mean, for Imperial, like, this has got to really just be a kick to the teeth. A situation where you were in the lead, now you're in a tie situation, and Imperial have to really dig deep in the playbook now. They have to figure out what they can do a little bit differently for this, because some of the things they've tried have really just not worked. Like, there hasn't really been anything that's been that beneficial from them, right? So now it's a moment of Sharks just really doing a great job of bouncing themselves back in this game. And even Try's even got the op ready to go here too. So I really want to see what Try can bring to the table. Just considering a nuke T side op is always something a little bit more tricky, like we talked about.
Definitely so. And he's not had the opportunity to really utilize it. He's just kind of waltzing around, tethering to an opponent here and there, or to a teammate rather, here and there. And now you've got aggression from RDN. This is what he does best, when he can finally start to maneuver around the map a little bit. But once RDN has been spotted, I think they're just trying to consider if they can come out of the door. Just nothing being given to them. Constant use of utility to keep these T-sided players at bay. 40 seconds left on the clock, and finally that they can try to get out. The smoke in a mini is there, and from Hut, Gafolo strikes. Beautiful spray transfer into a double, and now it's all onto Decenti and Vinny. They've got to find a way to deal with Gafolo, and they finally do. Nick's at the back of the site, a player down in vent rotation, and Koala in heaven. This is a great situation for the Sharks. They'll deny the bomb plant, they'll put it all on the captain, and the captain will find nothing. Sharks with the lead.
Oh man, again, it's just so sloppy. I mean, look, Imperial, like in that kind of a situation, that's why I was criticizing, like, for the way they've been playing. I just don't understand why they want the op out. Like, I think you made a really good point earlier on in this game where the op on T side can be really good post plant, but these guys are having difficulty to get into the sites with the plant. Like, we don't get to see a lot of these post plant situations, so even there, you had double player in Squeaky, nobody's clearing on the top of Hut, and like the op was going through Squeaky, which is, I think that's probably the worst position you could put the op in, that kind of a position. It's such a funnel. So we're starting to see some really careless decision making from my perspective anyways. And I mean, even the fact that Vinny had no coverage for the bomb, it's just, again, these like kind of weird decisions that are now starting to really creep up. And I'm kind of wondering, Paladin, if these guys are, you know, getting a little bit antsy, just considering they've lost the lead, they have a map against them, and all we need is 3 more rounds, and this thing's over, and they're done, and they're not going to be going to Dallas.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of that mojo that made them very exciting, and I think you're totally spot on. I think they definitely are getting antsy when you see that scoreline piling up against you, and they start to make a couple of more rash decisions. They're all minute ones, but they all add up, and that's where you get that result of a more foolish round. So for the Sharks, they're gonna take this opportunity with both hands. They've got Imperial right where they want them. And now they've just got to put the ball into the hole.
Oh boy. So much riding on this now too. Smoke wall's going to get thrown, good pop. Again, no information. Those players actually make it across, so actually I was thinking that could have been problematic, but indeed it won't be. A huge hole from Gafolo, and then also from RDN. putting himself in the triple kill once again, playing on the top hut. He has just been a menace, man. Nobody's been able to stop him. Now we're at 11-9, but look, I mean, really good reaction from Sharks. Just even those double players in mini like that, that could have been a disaster. But luckily, the communication was clear. Like, look, I don't have it. They could slip through, but thankfully they were able to rebound quickly.
Great work there from RDN. I mean, again, if he goes down, if he even goes 1 for 1 there, I think it gets real nerve-wracking. So dealing with that is great. Now they've got to deal with another bye. They're essentially 1 bye round away. Of course, if there's a bomb plant too, but you get my point.
Yeah, I know what you're putting down, Paladin. Don't worry. Oh,
now,
boy.
What can they do? Nading open the smoke now has been very kind to them in this best of 3. And they'll just have to be okay with letting them down. They've got to be aware that that's a possibility. And Koala has also got to be aware of this ramp presence. 3 players here to deal with him. Doc with the rotation. There's a 3rd player downstairs as well. There's a lot of attention on this B bomb site. And Nyx has hit the first shot. That's big stuff there from the sniper. And now you can call the rotations downstairs. I think Imperial have been figured out and then some. There's a single aggression. Koala's there. RDN is there. And the bottom side anchor has just done so much. Look at what Tri has got to do now. A 1v2, 1v3 in total.
Yeah, this is somebody that we talked a lot about that might be able to, you know, bring some good impact in this. He was, you know, one of those players that has shown that he can be really lethal, but yeah, again, just given a really bad, you know, bit of a situation he can't really work with. And now we're going to be on series point here for Sharks. I mean, look, Imperial have kind of done the same thing over and over. They go for the smoke wall. They just kind of wait things out. It's just, it kind of feels like they've run out of ideas, right? I mean, it feels like Sharks have just kind of, you know, taken their strap book and have memorized every single play, and they're steps ahead of them. So now Imperial, I mean, I don't think they have any more timeouts remaining, because if they did, they should be calling it now, because this could be all over within 1 round, and Sharks can advance themselves in the lower bracket to wait for the outcome of the legacy game that's happening as well.
It's just incredibly readable, and this is again, it comes down to how much work Sharks have put in on this map. When you think about this organization, you think about the good work they've done across so many different iterations. Gafolo's got a wealth of knowledge to base his gameplay off of. And look at that, solid nade from RDN to chunk down No Way, that tip of the spear and this upper execute. They throw a first bit of utility, and here comes that second round. But I believe the Sharks are aware of this.
Yeah, they look prepared. They look like they know exactly what's happening here. Smoking Mini and looking even RDN. He's able to go for the 1-on-1 trade, but that's going to be still the unadvantage situation. But look at these CTs. They've loaded the kill feed, and they've been able to load up themselves a best of 3 in their favor. Imperial are going to pack their bags. They ain't going nowhere. But at least the Sharks live to fight another day where they're going to be in the lower bracket to see if they can get themselves in those finals position to get to Dallas.